I really wasn't planning on JU just from the beginning, but once I visited, I really liked the environment. It felt like, I liked how most students lived on campus, and the soccer team just had a great chemistry, and I think that was the year before I came, they had just won conference and gone into the tournament. So they were really talented, and so it was honestly just a feel. I liked just kind of the chemistry of the team and the coach, MJ, and it just was one of those things that felt right. So any other college kind of felt more intimidating or not such a good team environment. So I just really liked the feel of it.
Great. Yeah, I know we've talked a lot in past episodes about sort of that family feel. And I'm sure, people make friends in college at different universities, but there's just something different, something special about the bonds that are made, especially in the athletic department, and not just with the team, but with, athletics overall. So I know you still catch up and follow, are friends with a lot of people that, not just women's soccer, but men's soccer, baseball, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and I truly have always felt that, some of the bigger schools, like my sister went to University of Florida, she kind of stuck with her same high school crew, but being at a smaller school like JU, you don't know anyone from the beginning. And so you're starting all over. And I felt like I made so many more friends because of that. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but a smaller school, I actually felt like you met and made a lot more friends. So I liked that smaller environment so that you could actually do that and you weren't just a number.
Right. Yeah. And, one of the things I thought was special when we were there, because we were there at the same time. I know you came in a year after me, but I had my super senior year. So I just had to wait one more year. But, the fact that the different sports would come and support each other, you'd see soccer at baseball games. We would certainly come down to the soccer games. We would bring our red couch, which I don't think they allow anymore, but we would actually bring couches down and sit behind the goal, which I don't think you're allowed to do anymore. But it was just, it was a different environment, which was great.
And it was that family feel, not just sticking in the soccer aspect, but I think all athletes, like we really stuck together because you're, suffering in the weight room together or passing each other in the locker room. And so it was kind of like that whole athletic family I felt the whole time.
Awesome. So I obviously know a little bit about your academic success and some of the things you did there, but why don't you talk a little bit about College of Business and, some of the focus that you had in the classroom?
Yeah, it was weird. I always just knew I wanted to do something business. So I know a lot of people struggle with what their major is going to be, but I was always just kind of like business, marketing, management. And so I think JU does a great job of, like, I double majored in both marketing and management, but it's doable the way they do their courses. So I really liked that. I think most of our classes together were marketing, and we had Professor Narkowitz. Is he still there? Do you know?
I don't know.
He was awesome. And so I felt like he did a great job because he's been a business professional. He really applied a lot of our stuff to actual real life things you're going to need to use, from marketing plans to sales pitches. And so I thought he was really great. And I think just our last year we had the new building, which was really, really nice. So I'm sure everyone takes that for granted now, but we were so excited to get at least 1 year in the new building. It was so nice. And I'm sure they've done so much more with all of the campus. I haven't been back in, I'm not sure how long, at least 5 years, but it seemed like they were continuing to do such a great job just renovating the campus, but keeping like the beautiful big trees and kind of that native environment as much as they could.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've noticed. We were away for about 4 or 5 years, and to come back and see the improvements, not just with the athletic department, but university-wide. I mean, talking about the Davis College of Business, that building when we were leaving was, kind of this shining beacon, like the brand new shiny object. And now it's just on par with everything else in the university. So nice. It's incredible what they've done. And like you said, it's a bunch of new, wonderful stuff, but you still have that small, intimate feeling that, with the azaleas and the big trees and all the stuff you talked about. It's still there. So it's a really cool blend.
Yeah. Nice.
It really is. So yeah, when I was thinking through, our time, we certainly took a lot of classes, especially once we got into our major, doing marketing classes. That was one of the things that I really liked, was having the real world application of what we were learning. So it wasn't just learn it, take a test. It was, really getting in and doing these things in real world application. Like I remember we did, like you said, marketing plans. I think you may have done it with me, a surfboard company. I remember we did Quiet Flight, which is like a Florida local. We got to set up.
And we had to do like a full sales pitch to Professor Narkowitz in front of the whole class. And so, right. I mean, if that's not like buckle under pressure, but it was good. I mean, I remember I sold JAG tickets, like season tickets to him. And I'll never forget, because you're just at a desk in front of your whole class and it's all your friends. So it's obviously super embarrassing. And I just remember he stopped me in the middle because I had asked him, I was like, which package do you think you're leaning towards? And he goes, stop. And I was like, holy smokes. And he was like, that's a leading question, but that's what you want, because now you have me thinking not about not purchasing, but which one I want to purchase. And so I was like, yes. So I'll never forget it. Obviously it wasn't, like a huge sale or something, but it was like a big win. And it just gives you that confidence of, for me, and maybe you felt this too, but I always felt like marketing and sales is just intuitive. It just makes sense. And it's just kind of navigating through conversations and getting to know people. But he kind of gives you that confidence that you could tackle this in a real career, because he puts you under pressure and makes you perform. So I thought it was cool.
That's right. No, that's awesome.
I won't tell you an embarrassing story, just the good ones.
Where Scott and I are going to have to talk about the after the show. Maybe we'll do that one day. So let's talk about that transition, because I know a lot of us, we go, originally we love the university, we want to continue playing whatever sport we're in. We decide on a major, and then it's like, okay, now that graduation's here, I think people are on different ends of the spectrum. Some know right away they're going to go into a family business, or this is, maybe they're going to continue playing. But I think a lot of people get to that point where they graduate and it's like, okay, well, now what? And so why don't you talk a little bit about, all that experience in the classroom and how you transition to ultimately what you're doing today?
Yeah, and I think one thing for women's soccer, there's not a major professional opportunity. I mean, they definitely have some leagues and whatnot, but it's not very lucrative. And so that wasn't really something that I wanted to pursue. But for me, I probably started interviewing the beginning of my last semester, senior year, for, lining something up once I graduated in the summer. And again, Professor Narkowitz, I had done an internship with him, with a company, like a past colleague of his. So just, again, JU, your professors, and you get time to kind of show them what you've got. And so during that intern process, I also, he got to know me. So he had a connection at, it's now called Zimmer Biomet. It's a huge medical device company, and one of their craniomaxillofacial division is based out of Jacksonville. And so he knew his nephew actually worked there, and he knew some other past graduates from JU. So he referred me because they were hiring, and I didn't know anything about med device, but they were hiring in the marketing division. So I just went and gave a presentation, and it just seemed fascinating, the medical side of it. Like we in college, you're learning all the business side, but you get there and there's skulls and plates and all this really cool stuff in the office. And so I lined up that job. So I had it teed up, right as soon as I graduated. I think I had 2 weeks off and then I started. So it was a great collaboration of knowing my professor, him referring me, giving me a great opportunity, and then just really being fortunate to find something great that has been my career ever since. I've been in med device.
Oh, that's awesome. We had a golf alum, Kevin, and he's in the medical field as well. And one of the things we talked about is, I think a lot of what you hear early on after graduation is, it can be a lucrative path, medical sales just in general. You can make a good living at it. And I think that's what a lot of people think. But what we talked to Kevin about was, the actual application of the products that you're selling and actually helping people. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is that you all are actually doing? And, if you have any stories of like, this helped this person in this way.
Right. Well, and what's funny is I know Kevin, and I remember him talking to me like when he went and worked for a competitor, but we've stayed in touch, and so again, small world, but I love it. And but no, it is a cool aspect too of being a part of something, especially in marketing and at Biomet. Is I was part of developing new products, and so you're in the OR with surgeons, you're gathering feedback. You're seeing what unmet needs they have, and then you're going back with an engineer team and you're designing new products. And then to take something from concept to actually being ready to be used in the OR, and then it's improving a patient's life. It is really neat. And granted, I'm not the surgeon, and they're super impressive, and they're the ones that are really changing the lives. But it's cool to be a part of that process and to just see from concept to it's being implanted. It's a really neat thing to be a part of. And it's also interesting too, how much orthopedics is like carpentry. So I remember our engineers would go back and they'd get drills from Lowe's or Home Depot, and they would kind of deconstruct and reconstruct. And a lot of it's the same, with drill bits and screws and plates. So that's kind of neat too. It's just, we're not recreating the wheel. We're just using what we already know works. So it's really cool. It's fun to be a part of that. Being in the OR is a unique experience too. How you kind of just turn your brain off and the surgeons do what they need to do. And then, the patients wake up later and they're feeling okay, but they're eventually going to get better. It's kind of cool to be a part of that. And surgeons are really, really impressive.
That's awesome. Well, let's jump back. I've got two things for you, and then we'll let you go. So the first, I'm going to put you on the spot just to give you a heads up. But so currently you are in North Carolina, Charlotte area. So why don't you talk a little bit just about family life and, married, kids, all that good stuff?
Yeah. So one thing for me is I've bounced around a little bit for my career. So after Jacksonville, I moved to Dallas for a year, switching to a bigger company. And then a year later, I moved to Chicago with the same company, but switching from marketing into sales roles. And then within that company in Chicago, I really was able to grow my career, get into management and helping to build a sales force and whatnot. And then there wasn't anything really keeping me and my husband in Chicago. So we wanted to be a little bit closer to family because I'm originally from Florida and he's from New York. And Charlotte was kind of that good, happy medium. When you're regional, like I travel weekly for work. So just being by a good sized airport. So Charlotte was kind of that good meeting ground and we love it so far. So it's my husband and then we have a 1.5-year-old little girl. And I think being from Florida, I like having the seasons. And I know, Pat, you lived up in Virginia for a little bit, but I like the seasons. And it's not the crazy winters like Chicago or the brutal summers like Florida. So it's kind of that perfect meeting ground. And so we really like it so far. And, the beach is 3 hours away. The mountains are 2 hours away. So we've enjoyed it so far. We've been here for 4 years now.
So final question before I let you go is, I'm not going to say favorite memory, but if you have a story or a great memory from your time on the soccer team, let's hear it.
On the soccer team. Well, I mean, there's so many and, there's always crazy ones too, but I think just being able to walk into the cafeteria and see, have a place to sit. You have a group of friends, whether it was you and the baseball team or the soccer guys or the soccer girls. It was always just kind of, you get that nervous feeling of walking in, I wonder if anyone's going to be here. And so just having that family and, athletic, just kind of camaraderie that we all had, so it's not a specific story, but that was always just such a good feeling. And I appreciate that a lot about JU.